Hello everybody and welcome to another haul video. Yes, I know I said I wouldn't do this again, or at least not make it a regular thing, but here's the thing. I'm gonna do it if there's like something interesting, like something relatively interesting, instead of every time I, use the trunk and whatnot. I won't have to make a video every single time, but I'll do it in case something is interesting, like what's in here. In my opinion, what is interesting in here. So today we are actually joined by my trusty companion. He was sleeping, kind of, maybe. Yep, there he is. So yeah, anyway, today we have a Hattons trunk haul, another one. Like I said earlier, I wouldn't be doing these relatively often, but or at least I'll try not to do these relatively often. But yeah, so in here should be my invoice. So in here should be 2 cattle wagons, a war well, yes, another one, and actually there's one right there, as you can very plainly see. So yeah, 2 cattle wagons, a war well, a tanker, another one, a 16-ton mineral wagon, a black 5 with sound that may or may not work on DC. I don't know. I'm very confused about that whole thing. And the something that is rather important, in my opinion, is the recently released Rapido 16-inch Hunslet. So yeah. So what we'll do this time, so I won't bore you with numerous unboxings, is we'll unbox the locomotives, okay, but like the wagons, except for the war well, the other 2 wagons we won't unbox. So yeah, so let's get into it. Alright, so first of all we're going to take a look at this, which is something I've actually been dying to look at ever since this arrived, which was yesterday at the time of filming, which is what's today, the 9th? So the 8th of February. So yeah, so as you can see, it's the recently released Rapido 16-inch Hunslet. You can't see anything, but as you can see, it's still in its packaging that it arrived in from the factory. So good to see that Hattons didn't mess about. There we go. Hattons didn't mess about with with this. And at the moment, I do believe there are some issues with this, like nothing major, but like one of the main issues, if you have a sound fitted one, these are kind of delayed because the chips are there's issues with the chips, I believe. So yeah. So anyway, the one we are looking at today is Primrose number 2, and this is in mine black. There is a very specific reason why I got this, and I'll get onto that in a bit. But even though this is brand new, the box seems like it's been beat up. But I mean, that's alright, I suppose. So first things first, first off, here's the manual. But also, this box is a lot smaller than what I was anticipating it to be. I thought it'd be like around the same size as the 16XX. So it's good to see that it's not like in a massive box like that thing is. Review of that is coming soon, by the way, because I do have another one. Anyway, back to the 16-inch Hunslet. Here's the manual. Also, I'm not sure if I've mentioned it, and then DCC fitting and stuff. But yeah, like I'm not sure if I mentioned this and stuff. But this is actually my first time looking at this. Like I said, functions. So I have no idea what condition this thing is in. I've actually held off looking at this, even though like I said, I'm kind of a hypocrite. And parts diagram. It's a rather complicated little thing. I do know it's split chassis for whatever reason. So yeah, but yeah. So I've held off looking at this for quite a while, and yeah. So one thing I do know is that there is a wee detail bag which contains little footsteps. Because some of them have, some of these things had them and some didn't. So yeah, that's that. Now we have the actual blister pack. Put that over here. So, there's the model. For whatever reason, it's, not entirely sure what all this is. What is this? Is this like protective film? Okay. That was weird. That was very weird. Anyway, so yeah, here's the model and its little plastic blanket. Let's take this off. Let's see how she is. Alrighty. There's the wee Hunslet. The Hunslet 16-inch, which personally, I prefer these over the austerities. Anyone who knows me, and I've said this before, anyone who knows me knows I absolutely despise the austerities. I'm not going to get into it, but I much prefer these. I much prefer these little 16-inch 060s, because also, without these, the austerities wouldn't technically exist, because the predecessors to the austerities were a development of these little things. They were just bigger, because the 16-inch Hunslet is called, well, it's called 16-inch, obviously, because I believe the size of the cylinders. So these obviously have 16-inch cylinders, and then the predecessors to the austerities have 18-inch cylinders. So Rapido, could you also do that as well? Anyway, so first off, there's a mark. I've noticed that straight away. So that's unfortunate, but the weight is it's pretty good. Pretty weighty little thing. There are some marks. The cab is nice as well. Well detailed. I do believe this has a firebox glow. So there's the builder's plate right there, which is also very legible. I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick it up. Let me try and zoom in. There we go. And then NCP. The lining is done really well. Then there's the nameplates. You don't get any etched ones, but I know Narrow Planet are doing some etched ones that were specifically designed from the artwork of this. So, sprung buffers, which is great. And then the tension locks, I do know that you actually have to unscrew the base plate to remove them, because they're not like in a normal dovetail connection for whatever reason. And then the side tank comes off as well. I'm not going to do it now, but you can lift the side tank off. But yeah, rather nice little piece of kit, if I do say so myself. My only criticisms are this smokebox dart, which is comedically small, in my opinion. And there was something else too. I forgot what. Yeah, I think it's just that. But there was something else that bothered me about this, and I don't remember what it is now. But yeah, so it's really nice. Decent little piece of kit. So the main reason why I went for this is, one, I wanted one with black wheels, because all the ones that they were making, they don't have black wheels. They all have wheels appropriate to their color. So if you had a blue one, you had blue wheels, a green one, green wheels, red one, red wheels, so on and so forth. So that's that. And then the second thing is because I'm actually going to repaint this ever so slightly into Prussian blue. So all the inside the red lining here, all that's going to get painted Prussian blue. And this locomotive is also going to be named Victoria, admittedly after an old flame of mine. So yeah. Anyway, but Victoria, the 16-inch Hunslet, is actually a Midland and Great Western Railway edition, a recent edition. In my canon, the locomotive spent quite a number of years at Wheaton Quarry, and then it was dumped during the 70s, like the very late 70s, when Wheaton Quarry closed. Then it was bought in the late 80s and has been under restoration since. And she steamed for the first time in 2019 in November. So she's effectively displaced Ginty 47314, who is currently having a 5-year-long rest in the Transportation Museum at Bicester. So yeah, anyway, that's a little bit of lore, I suppose. But yeah, coal load is actually really nice as well. It's actually like indented, which is something you don't see very often. I do know the side tank is metal. And then the footplate, the running board, I think it was supposed to be metal, but then something happened early in production that caused them to eventually switch to plastic. But apart from those little marks that are on the smoke box, I think it's actually really nice. So I'll deal with this later. I'll put some running test shots with the test track and stuff. I'll put that towards the end of the video. So yeah, let's move on to the Warwell. Alrighty, here we have another Warwell. Now, in all honesty, my original plan was to buy one, but then Hattons, I got an email from Hattons saying that they had another one in stock, or at least I think they found some more of this in stock. But the last one we looked at was I think it was an LNAR one, and at the moment, at the time of filming, that sold out. That's gone now. So this is the only one that's left. Whatever remains of this is all that's left. So like the Hunslet, this has not been looked at, but we'll quickly gloss over it because it's more or less the same as the previous one. But as you can see, it still has tape. Rightio. So here is the BR version. Is the camera going to focus? Probably not. So let me just zoom in here. Hello camera, thank you. So there's the decoration is, there's more decoration. The planking, I believe it's a different color. And it says return to crew. Yes, return to crew works when empty. Of course. So yeah, talks about the distribution and stuff. It's all more or less the same. Sprung, buffers, NEM couplings that are attached to the bogies. I think these wheels are different. Are they? Probably not. I'll put an annotation or caption or something. Underframe detail, equally as impressive. On the other side, well, not so the other side, but other end. Oh. Okay. That's weird. Sprung buffers. That, yeah. There's the number right there, and then it talks about 15 tons. I didn't talk about this before on the previous haul video, but these things have like an absolute buttload of rivets. Look at all these. Look at all these things. Look at all these wee things. Rivet cameras are going to have an amazing time with this. Yeah, other side is more or less the same if my camera can focus. Hello, camera. Also, I do apologize if you do hear any barking in the background. There's literally nothing I can do about it. Well, I mean, there is something I can do, but I probably end up going to prison for it. Alright. There we go. So, yeah, slightly different position, but the decoration is more or less the same. And there's the number as well. So yeah, there's the Warwell. Die-cast as well, by the way. The Oxford Rail one isn't. Moving on to our next item. It is something I've been after for a very long time. It's a Black 5. How the hell have I not gotten one of these? Well, there's many reasons why. Starts with a P, and it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think like 5-letter word, and it's something everyone talks about and whinges and complains about, so I'll leave it at that. However, this one, as you can see, has sound. So it's supposed to have sound. I don't know if it's going to work on DC or not, because at the moment I do not have a DCC controller. because I cannot afford one at the moment because I've got other things to spend money on. But yeah, so this is, I believe, what is in here, at least in like the decoder wise. I think it is a lock sound. Oh god, what was it? Because this, I actually did look at this very briefly, just to make sure everything was okay. But I think what the instruction said was this had like a lock sound 4, 5, not 5, 3.5, something like that. It's old. It's an older decoder because this model, I believe, is from like 2011 or something like that. Yeah. So here is the lubrication and the instructions and all that. It talks about body removal. Oh yes, this is an older Black 5 because I don't believe they are DCC ready. The first ones were anyways, because there's that horrendous arrangement. It's very interesting and weird. But yeah. I don't know if this has a detail pack because there's no hole at the back of this tray. So anyway, here's the instruction thing. Because it does say, as you can see here, it says it's possible on DC, but I've tried it. I've tried this with another locomotive, the Duke mainly, because the sound chip for that finally came. I could not get the sounds to work on DC, so I'm not sure if I need like a DCC controller or I need to program it or something. I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask my friend Trayman440 because he knows everything about DCC. He is the DCC guru, essentially. I'm sorry if you're watching that. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. So lock sound version 3.5, which is funny because it says it's designed for Hornby's Black 5 only. We'll see about that. Maybe I could put a lock sound 5 in here or something. But yeah. And then here's like the functions and stuff. If that's what you're interested in, here's all the functions. It talks about like CV values over here and stuff. I don't know why you would run this with a Markland system when these are clearly two different things. This is 2-rail DC, Markland is 3-rail AC. I don't understand it. Anyway, back to the Black 5. I don't think this has actually been run, because as you can see, it's still in its tissue paper. I don't think this has ever been run. So we'll take a look at the tender, or try to. Yeah. Or maybe. There we go. Yeah, it's rather interesting. Oh, wonderful. The coupling, that's detached. That's great, because I don't use those anyway, but still. Alrighty. So, there's the plug, because this has an annoying little plug. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's in the tender. Okay, good, great. I'd rather have the decoder in the tender than in the locomotive. Anything bad? Nope. Just a lot of polystyrene. Colloid, I think, is that's gonna need some fettling because I'm gonna take that out. Polystyrene, more of that. Hooray! Yeah. It's actually in pretty decent condition. Like I said, I don't think this has ever been taken out of its box. We'll put the tender over there. Move everything out of the way. And we'll take the locomotive out. And first of all, let's get rid of these little things. And we will take the locomotive out. There we go. Ah, there's the detail bag. I was wondering where that was. So, Oh my god. I don't think this has been run. It's still got all of its polystyrene stuff. I don't think this has actually ever been run. And I know I've said that multiple times, but I genuinely mean it. I don't think this has ever been taken out of its box. So I don't think it has. Though I did feel something on the other side. That's weird. Anyway, yeah, I don't think this has been run unless the previous owner looked after it really well, and I thank them for it because look at this thing. It is in absolutely pristine condition. And there goes the tissue paper. Relatively pristine condition. It's got like marks and stuff on it. I don't feel comfortable holding this thing because of the valve gear on this side, so I'm gonna hold it right here so I can keep an eye on it. Yeah, there's the little annoying plug cab detail. Like I said, I've wanted a Black 5 for an absolutely long time. I've also got an A4, which I've mentioned, which is something that everyone has. Everyone has that models UK. Everyone either has a Black 5 or an A4. For about 10 years, I didn't have either of them. So now that I finally have one of many, because this is going to get turned into 44871. And then I will get the new one that's coming out, the brand new tooled version. I'll get that, and I'll turn those into my own Black 5s, my Railways Black 5s. Let me just... yeah, because this is irritating. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this has ever been ran, or if it's even been taken out of its box. As you guys saw, it clearly still had all of its polystyrene bits on it. Because if this was a genuine second-hand Black 5, it definitely wouldn't have had those. This is very light. Wow. I knew they were light. People have said that the Hornby Black 5s were light, but I didn't think they were that light. That is, it's a bit concerning. And lastly, here are the 4 different wagons. So we got the 2 cattle wagons, we got the tanker, and we got the 16... what is that? The 16-ton mineral wagon. No, we'll just leave that. So we'll take a look at the tanker real quick. We're just going to hopefully breeze all through these, because there's really not much to talk about. And we spent like 10 minutes on that Black 5, so, which I deeply apologize, that was a genuine reaction. Anyway, tanker. First thing is the coupling is missing. Don't worry, it's here. It just keeps popping out. I was very much well aware of that when I bought it. This was like 10 pounds, I think, which is a lot better than what these usually go for, which is around 25, 30, which is ridiculous. Anyway, I think this is a Collectors Club exclusive of some description. I don't know what year. I'm gonna have to remove this annoying sticker on the back of the box to find out. But yeah, so the coupling is the only issue. So yeah, I think I have a tanker problem, because I'm constantly collecting these things. So we'll get rid of that. Next we have the 16-ton mineral wagon. This has, the buffers have worn paint, which is fine. I can just repaint them. This was, I think, 7 pounds? I'm going to have to check the invoice, because I'll do a big roundup at the end, of course. But, yeah, I think this was like 10 pounds or something like that. 10, 7, 8, something. It was cheap. All of these were relatively cheap, in my opinion. So that's mainly what I go for. But yeah, that's that. And then we have the 2 cattle wagons. Now, I've wanted a cattle wagon for a very long time, literally ever since my Thomas and Friends days, because I could never, ever find that damn cattle wagon. When I was into Thomas at the time, I could never find that. And usually when I did, it was like $50 or something, or something outrageous. Which brings me to another thing: the Bachman Thomas range. It's not worth it. It should not cost as much as it does for essentially toys and dated tooling. I mean, look at the Toad. If you ever wondered why the Bachman Toad has them couplings, that's why, because it's literally the branch line model, and all they did was slap on the face and pass it off as Bachman Thomas tooling. Anyways, rant over. Calawagon, relatively decent condition. There is like a slight mark, right? Yeah, there's like a slight mark on the roof. These coupling hooks are like outrageously large. Look at look at those. Yeah, pretty decent little thing. So these are, as you'll see, these are actually two different numbers. So I didn't, even though this, I think it was this one. This one had like 3 different ones in stock, pre-owned, and they were all the same number. I very nearly bought all 3 of them, and then I realized they were all the same number, so that would have been a problem. But yeah, almost the same. So I think it's time for that general roundup. Alrighty, so there's everything that was in my trunk for the last 3.5 weeks. So, pretty decent haul. I think all this was around 343 pounds total. So shipping was used through DHL, of course. Even though Royal Mail have essentially gotten their stuff back up in order, but also earlier in January they got hacked. So yeah, so a lot of the international services were suspended. So at the moment, I think they've rectified everything. So the international services are all back up and running. Personally, I'm not going to use Royal Mail probably ever again when it comes to Hattons. I'll just stick to DHL. So yeah. So anyway, pricing for everything. The tanker was £9, so I was close. The 16-ton mineral wagon was 14 quid. One of the cattle wagons was 11 quid. The other one was 14 quid. The Warwell was 33 pounds, but with VAT deducted, it was 27. The Black 5, again, with VAT deducted, was 154 pounds. It was actually being sold at 186 pounds. And then the Hunslet was 110 pounds, but with VAT deducted, it was 92. So let me talk about the Hunslet, because I actually want to get something off my chest. Back when the services were suspended, I did have a pre-order for the Hunslet. It was with Rails, but Rails, when these came into stock at Rails, they were asking for, I think, like 30 quid for shipping or something like that, 35, 36 quid, which in my opinion is absolutely ridiculous, even though, granted, it was with Parcel Force, and I personally, I understood at the time all the situation that was going on. This thing was supposed to be cheap, and if I was actually very impatient with my models like I used to be, I would have immediately said, yes, please ship that, I will pay shipping, yada yada yada. I obviously didn't do that. I actually told them to cancel the order because I wanted to pre-order this with the Hattons trunk, because not only would I actually have secured a model, but it would have been cheap, as it should have been, because this right here, yeah, that's not cheap. This is cheap. That is not. Even with sound, that is not cheap. So I'll leave it at that. So going back to the Black 5, yes, it has sound. Yes, it was expensive. The new ones, not the new tooled ones that are currently in development right now, but the the old new tool, the old new ones, if that makes sense. These ones, they retail, or at least they did. They retailed for relatively around the same price, like 180 something. That was brand new, no sound, just DC. Yikes. Like I said, I am going to get the new ones. When they make one that genuinely is close to the configuration that I want, like something similar to this, with the top feed close to the dome instead of the top feed being over here or just being domeless. And then I'll figure out something about the tender. But yeah, that's that for the Black 5. Like I said, it's going to be renumbered to 44871 for my mainline fleet. The Hunslet, as I've stated before, it is going to be slightly repainted, and it's going to also assume a new identity under the name Victoria, which is a Midland and Great Western locomotive. Going back to the Hunslet, I actually did find something else wrong. The lamp iron is broken ever so slightly. Actually, it is broken completely. So, camera, please focus. Yeah, see, it's broken. And, yeah, I'm just gonna get an etch replacement. I'm gonna actually... If I can't glue that back on, I'm actually gonna get an etch replacement. But yeah, that sucks. But yeah, the mark, I got that off. I think it was like a glue mark or something. It was really weird. But yeah, yeah, so that's my haul for, again, for the last 3 weeks. This was all in my trunk, Hattons trunk. I've got more stuff as well in the Hattons trunk as well. So I'm not going to do another video until, like I said, something genuinely interesting pops up in there. But, yeah, so I think that's all I have to talk about. These two I'm going to attach running clips on the test track towards the end of this video, as you can yeah, so this, I don't know if this is going to work with sound. I don't know if the sound is going to work, so I'm going to find out. And I do apologize again. I apologize again for the horrible giddiness that you had to suffer, because that was a genuine reaction, and I have to stress, that was a genuine reaction. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting this to look to come in the condition that it was in. I was more excited for this than I was this. But yeah, I'll attach clips of both of these two running on the test track at the end of this video. And without further ado, I think that's all I have to talk about. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.